According to Moscow, taking Pokrovsk is the gateway to Donetsk, and it would give Russia a platform to drive north towards the two biggest remaining Ukrainian-controlled cities in the Donetsk region, which are Kramatorsk and Slovyansk. Meanwhile, Kyiv has acknowledged that the situation in Pokrovsk has become difficult in recent days, but its troops are still fighting there, and it denies that they are surrounded by Russian forces. Russia has also stated that it has captured 64 buildings in the city over the past 24 hours, which were once home to 60,000 people, and repelled Ukrainian attacks from Hirshine to the west. Russian forces are just a few kilometers away from closing their pincer movement around Pokrovsk and neighboring Mirnohrad, and are also closing in on Ukrainian forces in the Kupiansk and the Kharkiv region. Now we move on. In South Africa, the government has stated that it will investigate how 17 of its citizens joined mercenary forces in the Russia-Ukraine conflict after the men sent distress calls for help to return home. According to a statement issued by South Africa's presidency, the men were lured into fighting under the pretext of lucrative employment contracts. All men are between the ages of 20 to 39 years and are trapped in Ukraine's Donbas region, although the presidency statement did not say which side the men were fighting on. However, in August, South Africa's government warned young people to be wary of fake job offers in Russia, which were circulating on social media, after reports that some South African women had been tricked into making drones. Now we move back to Russia and Ukraine. Actress and humanitarian Angelina Jolie has recently visited Kherson and Mykolaiv in southern Ukraine, meeting medical staff, local families, and volunteers. In a statement released by the Legacy of War Foundation on Thursday, Jolie has expressed her gratitude to the organizations she met during her visit, as well as the foundation for their support. This marks her second visit to Ukraine following a 2022 trip to Lviv, where she met displaced individuals affected by the ongoing war with Russia. Now we move on. The European Union has urged Russia to stop making nuclear threats and called on all parties to avoid actions that could spark new arms race. The statement comes a day after Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered officials to draft plans for a possible nuclear test, which will be Moscow's first test since 1991. His move follows U.S. President Donald Trump's comments at the APEC summit earlier, where he announced plans for the United States to resume nuclear testing, citing the need to maintain strategic superiority. The developments have raised alarm among global powers, reviving Cold War-era concerns about the future of nuclear stability. Now for this discussion, we welcome Professor Georgi Toleraya. He's a professor at Russia Academy of Science, joins us live from Moscow. Thank you very much, Professor, for joining us again. Good to see you. Professor, how do you analyze the current situation? Do you think arms race, particularly about nuclear military weapons, has started already or started again?
Well, first of all, I don't quite understand the lead to this comment because I'm not quite aware what exactly Europe is demanding from whom. They look like they address Russia, although Russia was not going and is not going so far to proceed to any nuclear tests. The president just instructed his staff to study the possibility, and in fact, our capacity to do this. There are no concrete plans so far. It's the U.S. and Donald Trump who have instructed his government to conduct nuclear tests. So any protests, if anybody is concerned, should be addressed to U.S. If U.S. won't test, Russia won't test either. Of course, if the U.S. will test and Russia will reciprocate, that would mean a new nuclear race, and it would be very dangerous. Of course, nobody, in fact, nobody in Russia is happy with this. But we think that the ball is squarely in U.S. courts. They should be stopped from doing the testing and doing other things which could endanger the existing balance between the nuclear powers. I think that's quite obvious.
Yes, Professor, I agree with you. US should be stopped, but who will stop US? Do you have any power or anyone in mind?
Well, I think that the whole world is interested in stopping the US at this point. Not only the nuclear powers, but the whole world community, all the 195 countries or 94 countries members of the UN should appeal to the US not to do this. That would be fair, because if US won't resume nuclear tests, well, nobody will.
Do you think UN still has the legitimacy or still has that kind of power that it can stop something like this?
Well, UN certainly has the legitimacy because it's the unique and the only universal international organization which unites all the countries, and their voice, although it might be not strong enough to stop any country of doing something, I think it would be heard by everybody. So the position of all the countries is important. And after that, of course, US may consider or not consider this appeal, but this is something that everybody can do. And how else is it possible to stop Donald Trump if he made the decision, which is in his competence, and he instructs his staff to do this? Well, the government has to obey the Supreme Commander and the elected president. The other issue is that it's maybe not possible for the government to do this, that the US might have no capacity to do this. Then there will be a good excuse for Trump to reconsider. Well, maybe in accordance with